During this video, I'm going to demonstrate the first chemical reaction that we were looking at in the previous video. So in the previous video, I showed these reactants where we were starting with methane, one methane molecule, and reacting with two of these oxygen molecules. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the valve that has methane contained in a container, and that methane is going to be coming and pouring out of this Bunsen burner. When I open up the valve, I immediately can hear the methane gas coming out. So right now, there's billions and trillions of these methane molecules coming out of this Bunsen burner. And there's oxygen molecules floating around, billions and billions of them as well. And right now, all they're doing is hitting each other and bouncing off of each other. There needs to be a little bit of energy. There needs to be something to get these atoms to disconnect from one another, to be able to break the bonds and rearrange themselves. So right now, there's a smell associated with the gas coming out of here. And it's a very bad smell because methane has a very, very bad smell to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this match to light the Bunsen burner right at the end of the Bunsen burner. Now when I do that, all of a sudden something very different is going to happen right here at the edge of this Bunsen burner. Right now, in this tube coming out are methane molecules and oxygen molecules. And now all of a sudden when I put that match there, something very different is happening. What's happening is right at that moment, there is a chemical reaction taking place. These methane molecules are coming out, they're hitting the oxygen, and now all of a sudden, bonds are beginning to break apart, atoms are getting rearranged, and new bonds are being formed as the molecules are now flying away from the surface of that Bunsen burner. As we spoke about earlier, the products of the reaction is carbon dioxide and water vapor. So we've got carbon dioxide and water that's being produced from this reaction. So right at that moment when that CH4 comes out of the end of the Bunsen burner and those oxygen molecules hit, those atoms are pulled apart from one another, they're rearranged, and they're put together in a different way. And they're put together to make carbon dioxide and water. So right now, those original atoms that were stuck together a certain way, right now, those atoms have been pulled apart, put back together in a different way, and now they're flying away as carbon dioxide molecules, the same exact atoms that were previously in the reactants, and two water molecules. So billions of these, but there's twice as many of these, one of these for every two of these. One carbon dioxide for every two water molecules, and now they're flying away. The reason the table's not getting wet with water is these are at very, very high energy, and so they're in the gas phase. So they're flying away as well as the carbon dioxide. But the exact same atoms that we started with are the exact same atoms that we ended with. And so this arrow right here is the same as this arrow right here. We started with the methane coming up through the tube, up through the Bunsen burner, and the oxygen meeting it at the surface of that Bunsen burner. And this indicates a chemical reaction is taking place. And what's flying away now is carbon dioxide here and water vapor, water in the gas phase. But the atoms that we start with are the same atoms that we end with in a chemical reaction, and that chemical reaction is happening right at the surface of that Bunsen burner.